Hi, I'm Sasha Segan from PCMag.com, here with the amazing swiveling LG Wing. The LG Wing is the wildest concept in smartphones I've seen this year, and this has been a year of a lot of wild smartphone concepts. As you can see, it starts out looking like a regular phone, and then you swivel up the screen, and you have a main screen and a secondary screen that can operate independently or ideally together. It's really cool. It really helps you do two things at once with your phone, and I'm going to give you a closer look at it right now. So the key thing that initially makes the Wing different from other folding phones is how much it just feels like a regular smartphone in your hand when it's in its regular smartphone mode. I'm holding it right now, and yeah, it feels like a big phone, but it doesn't feel much wider or thicker than, say, my OnePlus 8 Pro here. This is my daily driver, OnePlus 8 Pro. It's a very good phone. And you can see that the Wing is slightly taller, and it's slightly thicker, but not so much as to be crazy like the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 2. The Wing is 9 ounces, and it feels solid and heavy. It's noticeably heavier than most other smartphones. You look on the back here, and there's a 64 megapixel main camera and 2 wide-angle cameras. Why do you need 2 wide-angle cameras? I'll get to that in a moment. Now, you can use the Wing as a regular phone any way you want. It's a perfectly normal Qualcomm Snapdragon 765 powered Android 10 smartphone. Nice big screen here. Of course, you can use the 64 megapixel camera with digital zoom the way you would any other flagship smartphone. But of course, what you want to see is this. Now I've swiveled the Wing into its swivel mode, and you see here that the main screen now shows a carousel of apps that LG thinks are ideal for use in dual screen mode. And then the bottom screen is a 3.9-inch square screen, and these can run 2 apps independently, or in some cases, in a few cases, together. Now, like the other folding phones, I've got app pairs that I could launch, and that'll launch 2 apps at the same time. So for instance, right here, it launched YouTube and it launched the web browser. Or there are occasional apps that use both screens at once. And now the camera is the key one here. If I load the camera in swivel mode, I have a virtual gimbal now. And this has some really cool effects where I can digitally pan across the wide field of view in that wide-angle camera. Or I can lock the view so that when I move the phone, the view doesn't change. Or I can change the axis here so that, for instance, it really feels like it's smoothly moving on a gimbal. And this is really cool. This can make your videos feel really more professional if you don't own a physical gimbal. Now, it'll also do this dual recording trick where it's recording with both cameras at once. And this is something that a lot of YouTubers really liked about certain earlier LG phones and certain earlier Samsung phones, and it went away, and now it's back here. And it can record from both cameras either as one video file or 2 video files. Now, there's third-party apps, I know, especially for the iPhone, which do that, but it's nice to see this in the default camera. Okay, so what else can you do with both screens together? There's some things I can't show you because this is a demo phone, very early software. It only connects to my Wi-Fi. I don't have Wi-Fi down here in the backyard, so I can't show you stuff that directly has to do with the internet. But let's take a look, for instance, here at the gallery. So I have a video here that I took. And now we see here that I'm playing the video in the gallery, and there's some video controls on the bottom screen, as well as the ability to turn it into a GIF, for instance, or edit. And so that gives me more screen space for my gallery. Or, for instance, Asphalt 9, which is a driving game, you can show the main screen of driving on the top, and then there's like a little mini map on the bottom. One thing that I've really enjoyed doing with the dual screens, because, I'm a journalist, is having a web page or something up here and then taking notes on it down here in LG's Quick Note using a little keyboard on the bottom screen. And now often, I'm just typing nonsense here, my Amazon prompt, often when you're doing something on the big screen here and you need to type something, then the bottom screen will become a keyboard. See, and that just happened right here. I went to the address bar in the web browser, and the bottom screen became a keyboard. And now I anticipate that LG is going to have more coordinated experiences. But even this way, like I found when I was trying out this phone that I would watch some video on Amazon Prime Video while at the same time be, surfing Twitter down here on the bottom screen. Or I found I would be watching video on Amazon Prime Video while at the same time be surfing Twitter here on the bottom screen, or taking notes, or looking at a web page, as opposed to Samsung's folding phone, which opens up into one big screen. The fact that you have two distinct screens here really does make a difference. It really does make multitasking feel easier and clearer as to what you're supposed to be doing to multitask. Now, this is a pre-production Korean model phone. I did not put this through a full battery of tests. There are some things that don't work about it quite yet. The firmware is very early. This is coming to the US, to all three major carriers, later this year. You can see, for instance, that this phone has some Verizon bloatware on it. But as I said, it's pre-production, so it's not fully activating on any of the carriers. Still, though, very exciting phone. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this does when it's fully finished, and what kind of use cases it creates with the two screens that are so clearly physically separated, and yet, unlike with the Microsoft Surface Duo, I can grip them very easily in one hand. One problem I have with the Microsoft Surface Duo, which is right here, is that when I'm holding it in both hands, the ergonomics of reaching across the screens gets a little difficult. It's still quite wide. Whereas with the LG Wing, I'm holding it in one hand. I can really reach across the whole bottom screen with my holding hand, and then I can easily use the top screen with the other hand. The ergonomics are interesting. I think there's a lot of potential here. So that's an early first look at the LG Wing. There's a little ways to go before this is a final phone for the US market, but we will have a full review when it's a final model.